Hello, hello, and welcome to the free contract killer version 2.0, brother. I got notes. I got everything. And for those of you wondering, should I look at the 2.0 course or the 1.0 course? Bro, I can't even watch the 1.0 course anymore. I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck kind of trash is this? 2 years has done us very good. And just by the way, real quick, we're going to go through very little information here. The first course, there was a long introduction and we started things off very slowly. I'm going to do this whole course totally differently. We're going to do a very, very short little micro introduction, and then we're just going to blast this first video. By the end of this first video, you're going to have diplomatic immunity, and you're never going to pay taxes again, by the way. That's how crazy this is going to be, okay? That's just barely getting started, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about the background here. So this is the 2.0 version of the course. The 1.0 version of the course I'm probably going to make public on YouTube. I'm going to keep it around so people can see that I started somewhere, and it was, in my opinion, pretty awful looking back. Relative to everything else going on at that time, it wasn't so bad. But now looking back, wow, I can't even watch those videos. It's like painful. So that's why we're here making the 2.0 course. The 2.0 course is going to be a lot more geared towards action. Action, doing things, filling things out. How do you do it? A lot of action. The first one was kind of horse shit. Just, I don't even know what I was doing. Just trying to give you anything I could of anything I was learning. This one's going to be action based. If you get even a quarter or halfway through this course and you're not taking action, something's wrong with you. This course is going to be like springboarding your body so hard that it breaks your spinal cord as you're launched, okay? I'll still probably do the drip campaign with the emails like I did with the 1.0 course. If you find this course a little bit too tough, a little bit too fast, you can type me into the internet. You can look up 150 different shows with all my information on it. You can do the old course, I suppose. There's some stuff on there that I don't really want people doing necessarily. Like I will be going over a lot of that in this course to make sure you don't do it, and confusions, etc., that were in the first course that we want to avoid with this one. This is going to be red hot. I want to make this as fast as possible. I'm not going to be recording. One of the rules here, we're going to go over some rules. The rule here, I'm going to use the pause function. I figured out how to use that. Whoa, high tech. And I'm going to be pausing instead of walking you with me like I did in the first one, looking up all the definitions. If I get a little bit lost, I'm just going to pause, and then I'll resume when I'm ready. So we're going to have huge gaps that are going to be removed from the 2.0 course. I didn't know how to pause on the first one. So it just goes to show you, we've learned a lot over the past couple of years, people. First course was released on July 2nd of 2022. And as you can see here on the bottom right, I am just barely beginning this. This is the very, very first course. I am recording this on August 11th of 2024. So you can see we're about 2 years and 1 month. 2 years and a month. Yeah, almost 2 years. A little over 2 years and a month and a week from the first course, okay? You're going to notice that this course, specifically the 2.0, it's going to have the pickle here, and it's going to have the Nation of the Amnesty Coalition flag here, which I will be going over later in the course. So if you get confused and you see like 1.0 courses and 2.0 courses, the 1.0 course, I have the big civil peace flag in the back, and I'm much farther away from the camera. This is going to be the position for the 2.0 course, so you can always tell if you're on the right course or if you're in the right video. If you see this and this and this, you'll know we're there. I'm probably not going to use a dry erase board like I did in the last one. Just didn't work. You can't see it, so I probably won't draw or do much of anything with that. I don't think it's going to be necessary. If you really want to watch the 1.0 course, go ahead, but I recommend you watch this course first, and then if you want to go back and watch that one and cringe and laugh your way through it, then go ahead. But I'd rather you watch this one first, because there's going to be a lot of stuff on that first course that you're not going to need and not going to want to do. Okay. Okay, so rule number one. This is the most important rule here. before we get started on this course. Whatever video platform this is going to be on, whether it's YouTube or if I get deplatformed, I haven't had literally any issues with shadow banning or data throttling. In fact, a lot of my stuff gets shared organically, like suggested for you, like literally, like not only do I have no issues with traffic at this point in time and haven't in 2.5 years, I'm actually, now don't get me wrong, I spend a lot of money on paid advertising too. I give away the course for free and I give away the videos and I push the videos. I've probably spent 130 to 150,000 Federal Reserve notes just to give away the course for free or just to give away the videos for free. So I'm sure that helps. Maybe there's like an algorithm and it's like, well, this guy's been paying a lot of money. Plus I'm an original member of Facebook. I joined Facebook literally when it was just for college kids. So I've been on Facebook since 2005. So maybe there's like a legacy thing combined with how much I spend, and that's why maybe I don't have these issues. But I think more importantly, the reason why I don't have these issues with my traffic throttling is because I'm never mad. I never do anything horrible. I don't make fun of people. I'm not liberal or conservative. I have no political stance. I really couldn't care less. Honestly, I think both political parties are full of shit. And I just don't harbor ill will. I'm not creating hatred. I'm not creating upset. People laugh. They have a good time. We're here to have a good time and learn some things, and I think that's it. I mean, if you're going to yell and scream and act like a fucking lunatic, you're going to get your videos are going to get taken down, or you're going to get, and then people just say, they just get worse. So they have a video and it gets flagged, and then they, I can get even worse, right? And then that just gets worse, right? So wherever the videos are at, YouTube or Rumble or whatever they're going to be, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to check and see if your question that you have has already been answered in the comments section. Now this is going to help me a lot too, because it's going to add engagement for my YouTube or my Rumble or whatever channel I have. It's going to add more engagement because it's going to have like shitloads of comments, which is really good. You're going to check and see on there if your question has already been answered. If it hasn't been, which may take you 5 or 10 minutes, by the way, because even the ones I have now, we don't have this rule now. And it's like page after page after page, like hundreds or thousands of comments. So it might take you a minute to scroll down. The reason why this rule is going in is because I have way too many comments, messages. I mean, I spend 2 to 4 hours a day right now just responding to emails and comments and questions. And so because this 2.0 course is going to be literally, no joke, I'm not even fucking with you. It's going to be like 1,000 times crazier and better than the first course. Like literally not even fucking joking, bro. You guys have no clue how badass this is going to be, dude. Oh man, you have no idea how badass it's going to be. This is like 12 years every single day, all day long, nonstop studying, crammed down into like probably 15 to 20 hours worth of shit. I mean, you have no idea how awesome this is going to be. Like the first course, everyone loved it. Everyone's like thinks this is the coolest thing ever, bro. Literally, like trash. Like diarrhea is worth more than the first course compared to what you're about ready to see. So, yeah, right here, brother. When you I'm telling you, bro, this is gonna be better than Pornhub. I promise you. Okay, so, So it's going to need to be controlled. I can't be doing 8, 9, 10 hours a day answering fucking emails and comments, guys. I can't. I got to do research. I've got 4 lawsuits currently. I've got 13 or 14 that I'm putting together to file. I can't be doing it. You guys can't be emailing me. I love you, but I gotta put in some ground rules. Okay, and this is the ground rules. So the comments, the questions have to be only if they haven't been asked before, and they have to be put in the YouTube video. If they're not, and you email me or message me, I'm probably just going to ignore it. Honestly, I'm sorry. I have to protect my time. I can't be doing 9, 10, 12 hours a day on fucking comments and videos. I just can't. So I'm sorry. I don't want you to feel upset. I really don't. I hate it. I feel so bad when I don't answer someone's communication. And I really need you to respect my time. And this is the number one rule. It's the most important rule there is. You cannot be messaging me questions or stories or any other horse shit. Keep it super short. If it's a story or a personal story, keep it super, super short. Or even better, you can put in the comments of the YouTube, hey, I was in a lawsuit 4 years ago in negotiable instruments or in Nationality or whatever. And you can say, you wanna hear about it or whatever. And if I say yes, then you can email me or something. I don't know. But don't just send me videos. Don't message me videos. Don't message me litigation briefs. Please, for the love of God, I cannot handle it. When this 2.0 isn't even out yet. I'm just now recording it. When 2.0 drops, my shit's going to get fucking insane. I've already got 10, 15 people talking to Joe Rogan for me. So I'm telling you, when 2.0 hits, it's over, bro. I'm going to hit Joe Rogan, and then I'm telling you, bro, that's it. Like, I'm literally I have to figure out a solution for this. Otherwise, I don't want it to get to a point where I literally can't answer anything for anybody. So I need you to work with me on this. All questions have to be on the videos or on a video or somewhere in a public forum. And you have to check to make sure that the videos don't already have your question. And if you're like, it takes 10 minutes for me to check it, too bad. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Sit on a fucking cucumber and spin, you dumb bitch. Okay? Okay. Anyone being rude or mean in any way will be permanently banned forever, and there's just not going to be any way to get back in. There's not going to be any petition. There's not going to be any repairing. There's not going to be, I don't have time for any of that anymore. If you are mean or rude in any way, shape, or form, on YouTube, the way it works is I can actually hide your comments forever. Meaning I just click on there's 3 little dots. I click on that, and then I click hide user. And then it says, do you want to remove this comment and ban this user from ever commenting on any of your shit ever again? Yes. And then that's it. You're banned forever. And the same thing on Facebook, same thing on Instagram, TikTok, X, anything. If I see anything mean or rude at all whatsoever, it's an instantaneous lifetime ban with absolutely no petition ability to re-enter anything. And that includes our private groups. Any Facebook groups, don't ask me about the Facebook group. I'm not going to help you get in the Facebook group. I don't run the Facebook group. Don't ask me. I don't run the email system. Don't ask me to send you emails that you may have missed. You will not get sent those. And if you keep asking, you will get banned and removed from the list. Okay? I don't deal with any of this shit. It's real simple. If you're not paying me shitloads of donation money, or negotiable instruments or gold coins or silver coins, then you have no right to my time. So if you believe delusionally as though you do have a right to my time, even though you haven't given me any of these things, you're basically a psychopath and you will be treated as such. Very simple. This course is free. I have no obligation to you. In fact, you can literally go fuck yourself. It's very simple. Okay? So again, anyone being mean or rude in any way, there will be no questions. There will be no comments. There will be no me trying to figure out anything. If I can't even figure out what you're trying to say and I think, oh, it seems kind of mean, ban permanently forever on every platform. End of story. Okay? If you haven't noticed already, there's going to be lots of profanity in this course. Some people were like, oh, you should clean up the course. It'll sound better. Fuck you, you fucking retard. You're a pathetic piece of shit. People who are worried about words or upset about words or offended by words, just stay the fuck away from this course. Stay the fuck away from law. You're not going to be able to handle any of this. Just keep living in the matrix, man. Just eat your steaks and pay your taxes and then, have your driver's license and just keep going, bro. It's okay. Don't worry about it. We're at peace. We're at peace with you too. Okay. So, if you are a pathetic fuck, that words hurt me. So many powerful words. Pathetic, fuck you. If I hear it, permanent ban forever. Any weak, pathetic pussy bullshit like that, permanent ban forever. No questions asked. Okay? I don't resend videos. I don't deal with the email system. Anything like that at all whatsoever, you're just going to get ignored. And if you ask more than once, you're going to get banned. I don't deal with the email system. If you lost an email, if you didn't get an email, I don't give a fuck. Like literally fuck you. I don't care. Fuck off. Okay? I get 1,000 of those, okay? Everything I offer is free, and I will never directly message or email you selling you anything. I'm totally not into crypto. Dude, I literally couldn't even fucking care. If someone was like, I want to give you a bunch of free crypto, I probably literally wouldn't even go through the work to open up a wallet. I don't care. I don't fucking care. Do I think crypto is the worst thing ever? Not necessarily. I just don't care. So if you see someone messaging you, I get scam people who create fake profiles of me and they message people about crypto or about some kind of investment scam or whatever. It's not me, bro. I pay for the little blue check marks. I pay for the little validated accounts. I specifically started paying for those on all the different platforms because people were getting scammed. If you don't see the little blue check mark and you see a guy who's not being... Look, I'll tell you right now, I probably don't want to fucking talk to you. Like, let's just be honest. Like, I really don't. So if the guy's like messaging you and being like, hey, man, I got this cool thing and let's fucking... what makes you think that's me, bro? Like, I have people who literally message me like 30 times. I don't even respond and then I just block them. Like, that's typically how I respond to people messaging me. So why you think I would be just randomly, oh, hey, dude, check this out. How cool is this? No, I don't want to talk to you. That's really the truth of the matter. Like, that's probably the truth of the matter. Unless you are super hot and you want to invite me to like a slumber party with you and all your hot sorority sisters, which I definitely want to hear from you, by the way, if that's the case. If that's the case, and honestly, unless it's like a fucking like a $400 million real estate a portfolio and you're looking to privatize the whole thing and you want to pay me $40 million up front to get started on the project. If it's something like that, yeah, I'd like to hear from you. If it's a sorority sister sleepover, fuck yeah, bro. Hit me up. I'd love to, definitely message me. You're going to see a whole different side of me, right? Anything else? Hey, I've got a $10,000 credit card bill. I've got this. I've got that. I don't fucking care, bro. If you're not paying me, like as of right now, and it's gone up quite a bit, it was like, 6 months ago, I was excited about making 60 or 80 or 90 grand. Now it's like $160,000 up front, like doesn't really do much for me. Like it's like 200K is when I'm starting to get like, all right, let's talk, right? If you want to pay me 200K for something, like to litigate or whatever, I'll get into that later in the course. I'll probably want to hear from you. And that's going to go up, by the way. The more people pay me and the more people hire me and the higher that number gets. So after 2.0, trust me, 200K, it ain't going to be shit here real soon. So the truth is that I'm not messaging you. These are scammers. I don't want to fucking talk to you. I love you. You're great. Like, I love all the support. I love the fact that people share stuff. That's my next point. If you love the info, share it. I want you to share it. I don't want your money. I don't need your fucking dumbass Federal Reserve notes. Last fucking thing I need, okay? I don't need it. I don't need your money or your currency. I don't want it. I literally don't give a fuck. I don't care, okay? So, not trying to be mean. Not trying to be rude, but people are getting scammed. People might be feeling bad that I'm not responding to them. It's just going to get worse. I have to be clear about this up front with you. Just like everything else, you're going to be learning about contracts, clarity, and being up front and just very clear. This is the cornerstone of everything you're going to be learning in this course. I'm showing you right up front what we're looking at, okay? If you love this info, share it. Sure, you can donate, but what the fuck do I need Federal Reserve notes for, bro? You're going to learn later in the course. I don't need your Federal Reserve notes, and you're not going to need them here soon either. So it doesn't fucking matter. You're going to have infinite money by the end of this course. Doesn't fucking matter, bro. A little green slips of paper, bro. I'll just like wipe my ass and like shit on them and like throw them out the window. Like, who gives a fuck, okay? I don't need your Federal Reserve notes, okay? I'm going to use the pause function this time. So that's going to be a big change. Last time it's horrible. Okay. So that's it. That's the rules. Please follow the rules. These rules are here so that I can continue to research and so that I can continue to release this information for free. These rules are not here just because I'm an asshole. These rules are not here just because it gets me off and it makes me, it's like I jerk off to the idea of my own rules. These rules are being put in place to protect my time so I can continue to research and so I can continue to be on shows. I'm on, as you guys, those of you who know about me, I've been on probably 150 shows, large, small, medium. I'll probably be on Joe Rogan in the next year or so. I'm on his radar. I know for a fact 5 or 6 people that are very close to him. I've either been on their shows or they love my stuff. I know Joe Rogan knows about me for a fact. It's just a matter of time. You don't ask Joe Rogan to go on the Joe Rogan show. Joe Rogan asks you to come on the Joe Rogan show. Typical Joe Rogan shows, what, 15 to 22 million views? Every single show, and this is just me, I'm just tooting my horn a little bit here. This is not an egotistical thing. I'm telling you, I ask all the time. I want stats. I want numbers. 92% of every single show, 150 different shows, when I say shows, I mean podcasts and stuff like that I have ever been on, that show that we do is the number one highest performing show that the show has ever done in the entire history of the entire shows past. Sometimes 15, 20 years. Highest performing show they have ever done. And then another 3 or 4 or 5% or maybe 10% of that if it was like 85% are in that category. And then 10% is it's the highest show of that year, but it's not the highest performing show ever in the entire history of the entire show. So like 95% of the time, it's either the highest performing show ever on the entire show or it's the highest performing show ever for that year. So I get asked to be on a lot of shows. I'm continuing to go on a lot of shows. I need to protect my time so I can continue to go on shows. I can continue to do research and I can continue to give it away for free. Okay? So please, 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 please respect my time. I beg of you. And if you don't, there will be consequences and you won't like them. If I can find your name on my email list, if you piss me off, I'm going to start going around and finding you on Facebook, blocking you there, finding you on Instagram, blocking you there, finding you on X, I'll block you there, finding you on my email list, I'll block you there. I've done this so many times. I'll find every single profile I can find of you and I'll block you on every single platform if you really piss me off. So I need you to please respect these rules and my time. Plus, your question, if it's done on the videos, then other people can see it and I can answer it. And then like we can help a lot of people together. You're going to ask the question, I'm going to answer it. And then like, who knows? 10,000 people will see it or 5,000 people will see it. Or if I get on Joe Rogan, it's going to be, it could be 500,000 people will see it. Okay. And if it's a really good question and I really, really like it and I think it's incredible, I'll even pin it on the video. Okay. So it's a cool little system that I'm putting in place to help you and you help me and you and I help everybody else and everyone wins. I have to do it. Okay. Okay. So that's it. That's all I wanted to go over for the little introduction. And we're just going to roll straight into the first video here. This is the presentation that I normally give on most shows that I'm on. And we're just going to roll straight into my normal presentation that you normally see me do on a lot of my shows. But there's going to be some additional aspects to it. They're going to be kind of interesting specifically for the 2.0 course, okay? So the first thing we're going to cover is this first number here when you're looking up codes and stuff like that. This is the title number or the section of law. So if you look on the U.S. Code, we have all these different titles or chapter headings or whatever. 28 is the first one we're going to be looking at is right here, judiciary and judicial procedure, right? So this first number means Title 28 of the United States Code. This is a section symbol, and this is section 3002, okay? So we're going to scroll down to subsection 15, and we're going to see here United States means, and we're going to see here a federal corporation, okay? So you've seen a lot of this kind of stuff online, like, oh, is the United States a corporation and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's a corporation, but they specifically define it as a federal corporation, okay? And so another thing we're going to go over here for just a moment is we're going to look up the definition of the word person, right? So there's 2 words that are the most important words in all of law, okay? The first one is we're going to be going over a little later in the show, and the number 2 most important word in all of law is the word person. So if you look here, the term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation, right? And I know for a lot of you, you're going to think, oh, I'm an individual, right? Now, this is something I haven't really covered before too much. I started talking about it a little bit more recently. It's not quite that simple. If you type in legal definition of the word individual, it can vary upon the context, right? So AI is pretty cool. I'm not a big fan of AI, but I have noticed it has become quite nice to try to find, like, for example, please list every single definition of the word individual in every single body of law, and then it just like zip, 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 zip. Pretty nice. We didn't really have this in 2022 when I was first studying this, right? So the question, it gets a little bit complicated because it's like, okay, well, which one of these are we talking about? Well, that's the beauty of litigation. I mean, you can just say, well, hold on a second there, Your Honor. You say I'm an individual. Which definition are you referring to? You can throw them off pretty good with that, right? So here in Title 43, definition defines an individual as a natural person, including their spouse and other dependents, right? So the word natural person is interesting. Typically, what you see on that is you see so because the word person, it says here it can include estates, partnerships, association, company, or corporations. Natural person, typically they're referring to men and women, but it's not really like a foolproof term, actually. And it's something I actually wanted to cover specifically in this course because I didn't really cover this so well in the first course or really anywhere else because I've tried to cover it so many times and it's just never been that easy. It's just not that easy. I try so hard. The amount of time I've spent on like some of these basic words like natural person or person, just trying to understand them. I mean, sometimes dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of hours. And maybe there'll be a 3.0 course one day, and there'll be more and more and more to show you. And it's just pathetic that it has to be this fucking confusing, right? I'm sure for a lot of you, you're thinking that, but here we are, right? Now, one of the definitions of natural person, when you look under person, this is Black's Law 4th edition, which you can get any of the Black's Law's dictionaries really, really easy by just typing it into the internet. It's so fucking easy. Just real quick, I do have, my website is www.onestupidfuck.com. And if you go to the State National Theory page, you scroll down just a bit, you can download the 1st edition, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, and 6th edition of Black's Law. But you can also get it all over the place online. It's, not that hard to find at all. Okay. So natural person. Let's go back into that here. So if you look under, this is Black's Law 4th edition. You can see it here. We're going to go, it's under the word person. 4th is my favorite Black's Law, but download them all and figure out which one you like. And sometimes you'll want to use the other ones, but 4th is always my first stop, right? If you look at this definition right here, a person is such, not because he is human, but because rights and duties are ascribed to him. The person is the legal subject or substance of which the rights and duties are attributes. An individual human being considered as having such attributes is what lawyers call a natural person, right? The 14th Amendment, which we're going to get into quite a bit in a later video, which is the most fucked thing ever that destroyed this whole country, it gave, one of the things that it did, one of the many things that it did is it gave corporations and partnerships and all that kind of stuff basically human rights, essentially, right? So this term, you'll see natural person, it's not foolproof. Generally speaking, it's referring to like a man or a woman, like a living man or a woman, right? But not always. You need to be careful with certain words and certain terms, right? Natural person, you want to be pretty careful about that. So even though it says here defines an individual as a natural person, that's not the most airtight thing in the world, okay? So just keep that in mind, right? Here's another definition of individual. It's a citizen of the United States or an alien lawfully admitted for permanent residence. You're going to learn as we go through this course. Citizen means government employee, and United States is We're going to go over this in just a second. It's a federal corporation located in the District of Columbia, right? So most people would not fit this definition if you're not in Washington, D.C. working for the government, right? Here's another definition of the word individual. A living person who is a citizen of the United States or an alien, which means foreigner, lawfully admitted for permanent residence. But the problem again is United States means the District of Columbia. We're going to get into that in just a moment. So this term individual, the term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation. The term individual is not the best thing in the world. When you were born, we'll get into this for just a moment. There was this is a long form birth certificate I'm showing you on the screen right now. You can order these from Vita Cost or Vita. You can get it from the Vital Services from the state in which you were born in, and you can also get it from Vital Check, Vital Records orders, right? If you want to order your long form birth certificate, which is something I had you do in the first course, you should order some. You may or may not use them depending on the various things I'm going to teach you in this course. On the first course, we used them a lot for a lot of things, or mainly for the passport. But in this course, that's going to change, right? So you can order them if you want. But just keep in mind, if you look on the long form birth certificate, right, and you look here, date accepted for registration. So this is the birth date of when a corporate entity of your name in all capital letters was created through the state, right? And the name that I give for that corporate entity, in the first course, I didn't know about a lot of these words. But in this course, we have this word ens legis, which is actually a term. It's a Latin term. Ens legis, a creature of the law, an artificial being as contrasted with a natural person, applied to corporations, considered as deriving their existence entirely from the law. So through a lot of my research, I started using this term, and then I started using this term, public corporation, which you can find in Black's Law under the term. If you look under corporation and you keep looking and you look, you'll see a section called public corporation. Inside of the word corporation, you're going to find this definition there. A public corporation is one created by the state for political purposes and to act as an agency in the administration of civil government. Now, the problem with using the term public corporation is that if you, I'm learning because I do a lot of litigation, which is kind of new, but we're doing a lot of litigation. If you place your name on there as a corporation, depending on what jurisdiction you're in, they'll force you to hire a bar card attorney. You're not allowed to represent corporations without a bar card attorney in a lot of the jurisdictions, right? And the fact of the matter is very simple. We don't know, like there's a lot of people online that are like, oh, the all caps name, which is what we're talking about right now. Oh, the all caps name, it's a trust. Oh, the all caps name, it's an estate. Oh, the all caps name, it's all these different things, right? I don't know. To this day, I still don't know what it is. I know it's an ens legis. I know it's a creature of the law, an artificial being. I know that. What kind of creature of the law is it? I don't know. And I don't think anyone else knows. I'm sure at some point I'll figure it out. But the term ens legis is cool because then if you're ever in a court case and they're like, oh, you need to hire a bar card attorney because you're trying to represent, which means stand in the place of or impersonate, if you look up the definition. Oh, you're trying to represent a corporation. If you say public corporation, that's what they're going to do to you, right? If you say ens legis, you say, I don't know if it's a corporation. I don't know what the fuck it is. And that's the truth. And we're going to get more into that as we go. But there's some kind of artificial being that was created when your certificate of live birth was accepted for registration, and that's this date here. So your birthday is your birthday, and then about 2 weeks later, you're going to find this date here. Like, for example, on mine, it's like 16 days after I was born, It says on my long-form birth certificate, date received by local health officer. That's the date of the birthday of the ens legis. So you have two different persons, and there's two different birthdays. Date accepted for registration, date received by a local health officer, date received by some, it could be different wording. I don't know. We can go back and we can look at maybe another state and see what is this NYC. And we can try to see if there's any way that I can't zoom in on this, can I? Yeah, it's not letting me zoom in on this. Let's see if I were to open this in a new tab. Here we go. I'm so smart. So let's see what NYC says. NYC says, let's see here. Reading this over. Is there a date of local health officer? Is there a date signed? Date signed. That might be good. That might be good. If there's nothing else, if there's no other dates that would indicate like a registration or something like that, that would be the best choice. Yeah, so on this one, I would say the date signed by the MD, this medical doctor that signed this thing, date signed would be the birth date or birthday of the person of which is the ens legis. Okay, so there's two different birthdays. Okay, the social security number is not attached to you as the man or woman. It's attached to this ens legis. That's why all your bills and your social security card and everything you get is all with your name in all capital letters. It's all attached to this ens legis. It's got nothing to do with you. The ens legis is basically like another term we can look at is this term franchise. So I don't know what this thing is to this day, guys. Thousands and thousands and thousands of hours invested in this. To this day, I'm not entirely sure exactly what this thing is. I know it's a creature of the law, right? So like, for example, in California, everyone pays their state tax to the franchise tax board, right? And you read the term franchise, what does it mean? A special privilege conferred by government on individual or corporation, and which does not belong to citizens of country or generally of common right, right? So the word citizen, we're going to cover it. A long time ago, 150 years ago, it meant just a non-government worker, just a normal person, or actually, no, I think it meant, and I don't even know, it just takes so long to break this word down and go through the whole history of it that I'm just going to tell you what I remember. Someone who's not in the military. Somebody who's not working for the government, not in the military, is basically the old definition of citizen, right? And then around 1871, when the whole government was incorporated, which we're going to get into more later, there's a whole history lesson we're going to do on that. At that point, the word citizen became a government employee. And you don't need to get paid to be a government employee. When you dig into all of that, compensation is not, it literally says in a lot of the definitions and stuff that like compensation is not a part of you being an employee or not. So you think like, well, I'm not getting paid. How could I be an employee? If you look at the definitions and stuff, it makes no difference. So nowadays, ever since 1871, citizen means government employee, right? And a government employee isn't necessarily an American, which we're going to get into more and more and more as we go forward on this. So the word citizen is pretty gnarly, pretty scary. You should definitely be very careful with that word. We're going to talk about other options and stuff like that, right? But in this country, a franchise is a privilege or immunity of a public nature. Public is another really weird term. You always hear the term public versus private. You hear that a lot in these kind of circles, like what I do. Public means having to do with government office. A lot of people think that public means like on social media or like open, like for everyone to see. That's stupid as fuck. I don't know, like people have seriously misunderstandings. Public means having to do with public office, having to do with like working in the government, right? Private has to do with not working in the government. It's very, very simple. Like for example, earlier when we were looking at public corporation, when I showed you that definition of public corporation, that's why. Public corporation is one created by the state for political purposes and to act as an agency in the administration of civil government. Public means government. Private means non-government. You can scream it all day long, all over social media. You can go on a soapbox naked, jerking off and screaming into it. You can look like Hitler, screaming at the top of your lungs, and there could be 400,000 people listening to you. Doesn't mean it's public. It has nothing to do with it. It's totally irrelevant conversation. So much stupidity on this. Has nothing to do with it. You are wasting my time by even talking about that. So as you can see here, franchise is like basically a business, a special kind of business that's under government, right? And you go down to franchise tax. Like, for example, we pay our state tax to the Franchise Tax Board, which is like, you don't even need to, I'm not even a conspiracy theorist, but I was trying to figure out how do I explain this on video number one in a way where it's like, holy shit, it's like really noticeable, right? If you go to, if you're in California and you pay state tax, you pay it to the Franchise Tax Board. Collects personal income tax and corporate franchise and income tax of California, right? So it's a franchise tax. So you look up franchise tax, a tax on the franchise of a corporation. That is, on the right and privilege of carrying on business in the character of a corporation for the purposes of which it was created and the conditions which surround it, right? So that your name is a franchise in all capital letters. The all capital letter name is a business or a franchise, which goes back to the word person. Again, the term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual. So long story short, the reason why I went into all that is because what is an individual, right? An individual, as far as I'm concerned, is just a business that happens to have the same name as you. So even the word individual isn't necessarily speaking about you as the man or woman, because even the word natural person is a terrible term. I always jump all over everybody when they use that term with me. We're not using that term. We're using man and woman, and then we use the term ens legis. So if it's a man or a woman, very, very clear. If it's an ens legis, it's a creature of the law, as contrasted with what they should have here as man or woman. Like if I were to redefine this, it'd be a creature of the law, an artificial being as contrasted with a man or woman. Perfect. If it said that, you're going to have a great time with your contracts. You're going to have a great time in court because everything is very, very clear. They don't want everything to be very, very clear, though. They want everything to be as confusing as possible. That's why things are the way they are, right? So man and woman, and then ens legis. Perfect, right? So if we want to go back to the definition of the word person, the term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation. Okay, and you can go into Black's Law and you can look up the definition of all of these if you want. But basically, every single one of these things is an ens legis. This one just happens to look just like your name, but it's in all capital letters. As far as I'm concerned, that's what this is. That's what we're talking about here. Okay. In Title 8, we're talking about nationality and stuff. The definition's a little bit different. I think anyways, we'll get into that in a minute. So person, right? So we got into all this stuff, right? I'm just going to check my notes here real quick, make sure I'm covering everything that we need to cover. So now let's go into, we can look at citizen. Let's actually look up citizen real quick. Like I said, it's a long, super difficult, super confusing rabbit hole that has taken me forever trying to figure out the definition of the word citizen and the entire background of the word citizen. I'm not going to get into all of that with you. Like I said, 150 years ago, it meant non-government, non-military. Nowadays, it means government employee for a federal corporation. As far as I'm concerned, it's that simple. Okay. You know, they don't say just citizen. They say citizen of the United States or U.S. citizen. So you got to think. Just the word citizen all by itself is kind of up for debate, right? But when you start saying U.S. citizen, like for example, we're going to go to 42 U.S.C. 9102 now. We're going to cover this whole United States citizen thing. You start seeing this, and it's like citizen of what? Citizen of United States. And actually, before we get into that, we'll cover Uniform Commercial Code. This is read a little bit differently. This first number is the article number, which is the same as title number for the United States Code, right? So it's Article 9, Section 307. Now, what they're talking about here on this, I'll be teaching you a lot more about later in the course, location of debtor. So later on in the course, we're going to be getting into infinite money and how to have infinite money. And no, that's not a joke. I mean literally how to literally, no joke, like GTA 5, type in a little code, and you literally, no joke, have infinite money. Like, hey, I feel like having $200 trillion today. Yeah, no problem. That's why I don't give a shit about your Federal Reserve notes. I don't need your bullshit, okay? And I'm going to teach that to you near the end of the course. And a lot of this information is not necessarily needed to do a lot of that stuff, but it's just a lot easier to digest than a lot of that information with the finances, right? So some of this stuff is very useful to have with the financial stuff. So if you are looking for mainly the financial end of all this, I do highly recommend that you do continue to pay attention throughout all of the course, especially these parts too, because this stuff is to some degree or another relevant and can be used in a lot of the court cases and stuff that you could be filing. By the end of this course, I want you filing litigation. So we'll see, okay? It's also a big, we'll see. I'm trying my best here, guys. Trying my best, okay? So UCC Article 9, Section 307, we're going to go down to subsection H, location of United States. Now, United States is a federal corporation. A person includes corporation. So United States is a person. That's why they say it like this, location of United States. They don't say location of the United States. They say that here, the United States. But here they just say it because it's just a person. It's like saying location of, person. Jim Jones. Location of Jim Jones. It's a person. United States is a person. And you can see that in all of the criminal cases. It'll say United States versus John Doe. If you look in the venue and jurisdiction section of the lawsuit, it'll say United States is a person as per blah definition. So, because it's a corporation, right? So the location of United States is, the United States is located in the District of Columbia. Now the question is, where in the District of Columbia is United States, this person, this corporation located? Who the fucking knows, bro? I have no idea. I've never seen any additional information that shows where this person, this corporation called the United States, is located inside of the District of Columbia. It's somewhere in there. You could drive around D.C. all day long, and you'll never know if you're in United States. You'll never know. How would you know? I have no idea. So I'm going to teach you how you get there. There's only one way you can get there, because there's no way to get there physically, because this doesn't have a physical location. So how do you get there, right? We're going to get into all that. Like I said, by the end of this video, your life's going to be changed. Just the whole point of this video is on the first course. It was like this ultra slow, like literal short bus type shit. It was so slow and so drawn out. It wasn't even until like the fifth video before I was even talking about hardly anything. The whole point of this is we're going to be, this first video, I want to rip your fucking skull off your body with your entire spinal cord, like a Sub-Zero Mortal Kombat 1 finisher, like just out the gate, like first video. Like we're not even going to talk about me until later, like the fifth or sixth video. We're going to talk about me, and I'll do an introduction about me. But like I want this, we're just coming out the gate like a fucking horse race, bro, like 5,000 miles an hour, and I'm just gonna blast the shit out of you for like 5 videos, and then we'll get into some of my stuff and introduce me and talk about my bullshit or whatever. That way you guys, because some of you are wondering, those of you who are new to all this, like, who the fuck is this guy? He's just jumping into all this. I'll get into all that later. I want to rip your skull clean off by the end of video 1, and I want video 1 to be less than 2 hours long. So that's kind of like the whole point here, right? So the United States is located in the District of Columbia. Okay, so and yeah, so now we're going to move on to this term United States citizen, right? And we're going to look up citizen. I thought I had that here. Yeah, I have it right here. Page 237. 237. On the last course, I was not doing that, and I was just kind of like cruising around trying to find shit. It was awful. We had fun, though. It was fun. So here's citizen, and there's a lot of different definitions. One who, under the Constitution and laws of the United States or a particular state, is a member of the political community owing allegiance and being entitled to the enjoyment of full civil rights. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside, which comes from the 14th Amendment, right? We're going to get into the 14th Amendment later. The 14th Amendment was never legally ratified, and Congress actually talks about that on the congressional record in 1967. And we're going to be going over that in great detail in the second video, according to my notes. So don't worry about that right now. We're not going to get into all that right now. But yeah, the 14th Amendment is literally fucked and doesn't exist, okay? But we're going to just kind of get into some more of these definitions here. You can read some of these. Let's see here. However, neither the United States nor a state is a citizen, but that's like for like a specific application. A corporation is not a citizen for purposes of privileges and immunities clause. That's bullshit. Citizens are members of a political community who, in their associated capacity, have established or submitted themselves to the dominion of a government for the promotion of their general welfare and the protection of their individual as well as collective rights. So, submitted themselves to the dominion of a government. So if United States is a federal corporation located in the District of Columbia, you're submitting yourself to the dominion of that. Do you see that? So it's not something to be proud of. It's not something good because the thing is that the District of Columbia is not part of the United States of America. It's part of a totally separate country called United States. So that's why you don't have the Second Amendment. You don't have a lot of these things, right? And it's like with the Second Amendment, they have, people are always like, oh, firearms. Everyone's like, oh, firearms this. And the ATF is alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And they're like, firearms laws, and we have the right to carry firearms, and all this kind of stuff, right? It's like no one stops and goes to the Second Amendment and reads and says to themselves, this is strange, Second Amendment. I don't see the word firearms anywhere because it's not there. Firearms has nothing to do with fucking literally anything. You don't have the right to own or bear or carry or shoot or clean or build or sell firearms. Firearms is a term that was created inside of United States or the District of Columbia for specifically and explicitly for U.S. citizens. It's got nothing to do with people who live in the United States of America, who are state citizens or non-citizen nationals of the United States, which we're going to cover in a minute. So U.S. citizens are basically employees that work in the District of Columbia, which is basically like a giant corporate campus, essentially, right? The Second Amendment has nothing to do with you. You don't have the right to bear firearms. You only have the right to bear arms. And you only have the right to bear arms if you live in one of the 50 states. If you're a U.S. citizen, you don't live in one of the 50 states. You essentially live, sort of, a little bit more complicated, but you essentially live in the District of Columbia. Okay? And that's why there's so much confusion on the Second Amendment and the ATF and who has jurisdiction over what and how they can go after people for firearms laws. And it's because you're telling them you're a U.S. citizen, you're telling them you have a firearm, and then you're basically complaining about the fact that it's like me saying like, oh, there's this law in France, and like I I have the right to have guns because this law in France. Like, no, France has nothing to do with this. It's the same idea. You're in the District of Columbia and you have a firearm. So the Second Amendment has absolutely nothing to do with you. And it has nothing to do with your, quote, firearm. This right here, I'll do a full screen on this. This right here this is not a firearm. This is an arm. I am not a U.S. citizen. I am a non-citizen national of the United States. I possess an arm. So you ask yourself, okay, so does that mean he has a Second Amendment? You bet your fucking ass I do. You bet your fucking ass I do. Okay? So getting back into this. So basically, to make it simple, almost nobody has a Second Amendment. If you say on any forms or anything or your driver's license or your voter registration or your tax forms that you are a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person or resident alien, you willingly gave up your Second Amendment rights. You don't have arms. You aren't even allowed to have them. You can only have firearms. Firearms are regulated under the statutes that the ATF uses to come after you. It's got nothing to do with the Second Amendment. You scream in the Second Amendment, that's why they don't give a fuck. It's completely irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with anything. And that's why. That's why there's so much confusion on this subject. Okay? So, this is a long, super deep rabbit hole. Some of these terms like natural person and citizen and individual. I think we went over individual a little bit earlier. These are words that are just, dude, you could just go so deep on these. And you should, because these are the words, you see them everywhere. You start to really focus in on these like citizen and individual and natural person and all this. And it's powerful because it pretty much applies to literally almost everything anywhere. So, but I'm not going to spend 5, 6, 7 hours digging through those. You're not going to have any fun with that. So just write those down and just keep in mind that if you really want to spend a lot of time and you're like, what's the biggest bang for my buck? Citizen, individual, person, natural person, franchise, ens legis, these words, oh my Lord. Oh my Lord. You could just dig and dig and dig and you'll be pulling oil forever. So just keep in mind if you want to go down those rabbit holes, definitely should. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it very much. So moving on to the next part in this this first, skull fuck that we're doing here. United States citizen. Now remember earlier we were talking about how a person can be a corporation, and let's go ahead and review that just for a moment. It can be shall be construed to mean and include an individual, which again, individual is a bit up in the air, right? Individual, a trust, a state, partnership, association, company, or corporation. Okay. So we're going to go back to this. So it's very interesting because you can see here in subsection C, it's very clear. This is very shocking to most people. United States citizen means C, any corporation, partnership, association, or other entity organized or existing under the laws of the United States. It really is a person. They're not mincing words here, right? Now, check this out. Constitution of the United States, right? Now look here, right? This is how the Constitution begins. We the people, right? Now, you will never ever see the word people anywhere in any of these codes, right? Whenever they have a plural, I'm almost kind of curious why in law is the plural of persons rather than people? I wonder if it'll even come up. Oh, just some horse shit. That's hilarious. Oh, that's funny. It's just a bunch of horse shit. No. No, the reason why, so people, in plural, people, you won't see the word people anywhere in law. It's always the word persons. And I'll tell you, it's kind of creepy too. Like next time you're in an elevator, I started seeing it in elevators. I started seeing it like it says maximum 26 persons. You're also going to see it at like pools. Like if you go to the pool and you look at the rules list on the pool, or like you look at any official rules list anywhere, even parking. I mean, start looking at signs. You'll never see the word people. You're going to see the word persons, right? The Constitution applies to people. Doesn't apply to persons. Pretty tricky, right? So keep in mind, these are two completely different subjects. That's why we have two different bodies of law. You have the sheriff and you have the police. The sheriff is on the people side. The police is on the persons side, right? So we have two of everything. Everything is two. Whenever you see two of something, two words, you have firearms and arms, you have sheriff and police, you have people and persons. We're dealing with two different countries here, two different nations. The United States of America, where each of the 50 independent states are all independent nations in themselves, and the corporation called United States. Okay. Now, keep in mind, just also another point on this, there's two versions of each state, right? So there's state of California or California state, depending on how you want to say it, probably California state, and then there's state of California. Right. State of California is a business located inside of the District of Columbia. And you can just pull it up right here on Dun and Bradstreet, and you can see it's a business. County of Los Angeles is a business. City of Los Angeles is a business. State of California is a business. This is a business directory. Okay. So you got to ask yourself, when they say state of California, like for example on a driver's license or on voter registration, you sign under penalty of perjury that you are a resident of state of California. The term resident is also interesting, right? Because I'm actually going to pause this for just a moment and I'll come right back to this. Okay, I'm back. So this is going to blow your mind, right? You never see the word domicile. And there's a reason for that, right? It's always resident of state of California, resident of this apartment complex, resident. That's all part of the fucking matrix too. So here is Black's Law 4th edition. And let me just make sure I'm here with you. Yeah, it looks good. Black's Law 4th edition, we're looking under domicile, right? And there's this section here that just absolutely rips your skull clean off. There's a couple spots actually. Domicile, the established, fixed, permanent, or ordinary dwelling place or place of residence of a person. It's not really that great, right? As distinguished from its temporary and transient, though actual place of residence, right? They use the word residence here. It's not good, right? Let's see if we can find another one here. Domicile and residence, however, are frequently distinguished in that domicile is the home, the fixed place of habitation, while residence is a transient place of dwelling. Check that out, right? So domicile is where you actually live, and residence, I remember seeing it somewhere else, is just a temporary place. And I know if I keep looking here, I'll find more information, but it's like a temporary place of habitation, and you're there for either like a vacation or like some kind of business-related purposes. But you intend to return to your domicile. So a residence is not really your home. Residence is a temporary home when you intend to return to your actual home, which is your domicile. And that's why they use the word resident on everything. And that's why they say resident alien in the tax code. When we start getting into the tax code and all this kind of stuff, you're going to see resident alien. Alien means foreigner. So resident alien means a temporary visitor who intends to return to his domicile, but he is foreign to this zone, right? So a lot of these terms are very confusing. They say resident alien to United States. Well, the United States is a corporation located in the District of Columbia. And basically the way it works is what they're saying is that you're temporarily visiting the District of Columbia, but you're a foreigner to the District of Columbia, and you intend to return to your domicile. You can't domicile in state of California. That's why they always say that you verify under penalty of perjury that you are a resident of state of California. You can't domicile there. So whenever you see the word resident, it should be going bing, 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 bing in your head, because the thing is that they're referring to the District of Columbia. Every time you see the word resident, they're referring to a business called State of California. Your home is not a residence. Your home is a domicile. If you see the word domicile, that's a different story. Oh yeah, I domicile, but you're not a resident. Resident would be like, I go to Utah for 2 weeks to get some business done. I'm a resident of Utah for 2 weeks, and then I come home to my domicile, right? But you don't see the word domicile anywhere. There's a reason for that. We're going to get into that as we go forward here, right? So state of California and California state. California state would be your domicile. State of California would be your residence, but you're not a resident of state of California, because state of California is located in the District of Columbia. It's a business, okay? These businesses are all located in the District of Columbia, no different than how United States is located in the District of Columbia. So we go back to UCC 9-307. The United States is located in the District of Columbia. Well, where do you think state of California is located? It's also located in the District of Columbia, and I'm going to teach you how you get there, right? So heading back over to United States citizen. This is the first definition that most people think of when they think of United States citizen. A, any individual who is a citizen of the United States by law, birth, or naturalization. Law means contracted in, or under the laws of. Birth, keep in mind, the date of registration is the birth date of the ens legis. So we have 2 birth dates, right? And as far as I can tell, the word individual would not include you as a man or a woman. It only includes the ens legis. And then we have this term right here. And I think this term is the big boy. Remember when I told you a little bit ago, I said there's 2 terms that are the most important terms in all of law. The number 2 most important term in all of law is the word person. The number 1 of all law ever, the most important word you could ever learn, is the word naturalization. And I'm going to just clean up a few of these so that I can navigate this a little bit better, and then we're going to get into what is the definition of naturalization. This is going to really just tear your poor little head clean off your body. Okay, this is like as good as it gets. Okay, so let's do it. 8 USC 1101. And we're going to go down to subsection A 23. Hold on to your hats there, bucko. This was not in the first course. This alone is like, fuck the first course, bro. Like just this one. A lot of the information surrounding this word was in the first course. But bro, like this one piece of information just by itself on video 1 of the 2.0 course literally obliterates and crushes the entire first course. All 39 videos are just wiped off the face of the earth just from this one thing we're going to cover right now, bro. Like, no joke. This is the most important thing, like, ever. Like, ever. Okay? So really keep in mind, if there's one thing you're going to focus on this course, if you're listening to this in the background, I recommend you stop whatever you're doing in the background for this one. This is the most life-changing shit ever. So the term naturalization. And real quick. And when I first learned this, I was walking around in like a daze for about 60 days. I couldn't even think. I didn't even know what my own name was for like 60 days. So if this one hits you harder than Mike Tyson and you feel like you're missing all your teeth and you're not sure where they went, trust me, that's totally normal. It took me 60 days to emotionally process this. So don't worry about that. If you just can't handle it and you're just zooming in your head and you're just spinning like crazy and you're seeing stars and duckies and everything else, trust me, you're not alone. It's a typical reaction to this definition. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Very shocking. Most people are like, wait, I don't think I totally understand that. I kind of do, and like, what the fuck? Like, there's no fucking way that could be true, and blah, blah, blah. All these mixed reactions, right? Let's just read it a couple more times before we start to dig into it, okay? The term naturalization, this is 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A23. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person. Now you see the word person, you should be like, what is that? What's the definition there? Good. If you're thinking that while you're going through this, you're already doing great, and this course is going to be really good to you. If you weren't doing that when you heard the word person, that's not good. Anytime you see the word person, it's like that one meme where it's got Leonardo DiCaprio, or I think it's Leonardo DiCaprio, and he's holding a beer, and he goes, and he's like whistling and like pointing at the screen. That's what you want to be doing every single time you see the word person, individual, citizen. When you start seeing some of these words, citizen not so much, but you should. But the word person, natural person, oh boy, man, stop everything. You stop everything. The trains need to stop. The birds stop. The music stops. Everything stops. We got to figure out what is the definition of the word person, which we are going to do in a moment. Okay, but let's just reread this again. The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a state upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever. Okay. Brandon says this is important. Let's try to figure it out. So conferring just means bestowing upon. So typically the people, when they see that, they have the correct definition, just kind of giving something to something, or bestowing an honor or a title to something or whatever, right? Nationality, we'll get into that a little later. That just means like, having to do with that of which you've pledged allegiance to, essentially, which we're going to get into in a moment. And then we have this word state. People think, oh, state, it's one of the 50 states. No. Has nothing to do with the 50 states at all, right? The word state, just by itself, we're going to go to my own nation. I have my own nation called the Nation of the Amnesty Coalition, which is the flag you see behind me with the peach color, right? And we're going to go to the covenant, and we're going to go down here, covenant of an ambassador. And here is the just standard definition of the word state, right? And that's why it's not capitalized. If you look at 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A23, it's not capitalized. And they do have a special definition, but it's trash. The term state includes the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico, Guam, the Virgin Islands of the United States, and the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. It's crap. It's a trash definition, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to, in its largest sense, a state is a body politic or a society of men. You also got to keep in mind too, in the 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A23, if you click on the word state, it's in lowercase. And by the time you get to what is supposedly the definition of the word state, it's in uppercase. So that can't be the same definition. It can't be the same term because it's not the same word. Okay? You'll see all over the United States Code, whenever they use the word state, it's always capitalized. Title 8 is the only place I see them not capitalizing it. So I don't know why. There's definitely some issue with the definition here, right? So I just go to the dictionary definition. In its largest sense, a state is a body politic or a society of men. Very simple, right? And then that doesn't really tell you much. So I go up here to body politic. We're going to clear that up. State or nation or public associations. Doesn't tell me much either. Society. An association or company of persons, generally unincorporated, united together by mutual consent in order to deliberate, determine, and act jointly for some common purpose. In a wider sense, the community or public, the people in general. It's a better definition, but I kept looking and I found this. This is the big dog. This is the big daddy, right? Nation. An independent body politic, a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage by the joint efforts of their combined strength. But every combination of men who govern themselves independently of all others will not be considered a nation. A body of pirates, for example, who govern themselves are not a nation. To constitute a nation, another ingredient is required. The body thus formed must respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular. Such a society has her affairs and her interests. She deliberates and takes resolutions in common, thus becoming a moral person who possesses an understanding and will peculiar to herself and is susceptible of obligations and rights. Okay. So what exactly does that mean? It's just like how the body is composed of a bunch of cells, and all the cells come together and they operate as one body, your physical body, right? They literally even call things like corporate bodies. They actually have terms like that, right? So it's a bunch of cells that make up a corporate body. That's what a nation is. A nation is just a body of individuals or whatever, all right? And it says here, they have to have good internal and external tranquility to be considered a nation. Like a bunch of pirates are not a nation. They don't have the rights and protections to be their own international nation. They don't have the right to self-governance, basically. This is how international law works, right? To constitute a nation, another ingredient is required. They have to respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular, right? So a nation is not a territory or a location or a place or anything like that. And you can even see that in the Foreign Affairs Manual. We're going to go into this now just for a moment. We're going to come back to this later when we get into the passports. This has to do with passport codes. If you go down to passport code 11, you'll see here the bearer is an ambassador at large for title. This is for the diplomatic passports. We're going to get into all this later, so don't get too far into this. The example they give here is ambassador at large for global women's issues. Global women's issues is a nation. Nations are not territories, locations. Nations are literally just a society of men united together for the purpose of promoting their mutual safety and advantage. They respect other nations in general and each of their members in particular. They have interests. They take resolutions in common. They become basically a moral body of individuals that operate together with morals. They possess an understanding and a will peculiar to the body itself. And because of all that, they get their own rights, and they also have their own obligations. Okay. So a nation, you're involved in all sorts of nations. You're involved in a nation at work. You're involved, your family is a nation. Your online video game buddies is a nation. You have so many different nations in your life. And so the thing is that the word nation is actually what the word state is. This is the definition of the word state. State and nation mean the same thing. So state of California, but just the word state by itself, this is what it means. State and nation mean the same thing. Okay? So if we go back here and we reread this, the term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a nation upon a person after birth by any means whatsoever, right? So it could be the nation of California, the nation of, now there's two Californias. It could be the nation of California State, unincorporated, or it could be the nation of State of California. If you were conferring nationality of California State, it'd be a domicile. If you were conferring the nationality of State of California, it would be a residence. Start to make a little more sense? And then we have here the definition of the word person. Obviously, we're going to get into that. So the Title 8 definition of the word person means an individual or an organization. And if we go down to 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A28, we can look at the definition of the word organization, which is much more broad than what we saw over in the tax code, right? And with the word person, right? The term organization means, but is not limited to, and we're going to be getting into this particular word that we're looking at right now in more detail in a later video. I've had some recent breakthroughs on this that I will be covering on, it looks like the 4th video, okay? So don't get too into this. We're going to come back to this. The term organization means, but is not limited to, an organization, corporation, company, partnership, association, trust, foundation, or fund, and includes a group of persons, whether or not incorporated, permanently or temporarily associated together with joint action on any subject or subjects, right? So it's literally anything. It's like anyone or anything. I mean, literally. Like my email list is technically would fit this definition. Like literally everything pretty much is an organization. And it's a very powerful term. And I'm going to show you some of that power in video number 4. That's the plan right now, unless that changes. Okay, so going back to subsection 23. If we replace the word state with the word nation and replace person with the definition, this is going to start to make some pretty serious sense to you, okay? The term naturalization means the conferring of nationality of a nation upon an individual or an organization after birth by any means whatsoever. Pretty wild. So what does that mean? It means that anyone can confer nationality of anything, even made up stuff. You could say confer the nationality of the state of heaven. I'm not saying that's made up. I'm just saying like you could say the nationality of the state of Saskatchewanian 4. I don't know. You just make up anything. Or you could say heaven, or you could say hell, or you could say California. You could say anything. It's the conferring of nationality of literally anything upon anyone or anything, because it's the word organization means anything, and literally it even says but is not limited to in the definition. So I don't even know what else there could be above and beyond how vague that definition of organization is. So it even says it's not even limited to that. So it could literally just be anything after birth by any means whatsoever. So the term naturalization means the conferring of anything upon anything or anyone after birth by literally any way. Right. So when you see a form, like a form that asks you for your address, whatever you put on that address is what you are naturalizing into. You don't put on the address line the address of where you live because you live there. You can put on that line anything you want. I use 123 Purple Monkey Lane, Pickletaria, the Nation of the Amnesty Coalition on most of my stuff. That's my actual domicile address, because you're naturalizing. You could tell a cop on the side of the road, "Oh no, I'm not a resident of the state of California. I'm not a resident of any of the 50 states," which I'll talk about later on when we start going over the whole traveling, driving conversation, which we're going to get into in great detail, all the definitions for that. It's amazing because that whole subject is based on, you tell the cop on the side of the road, "No, I'm a resident of Antarctica." You didn't lie to the cop, you just naturalized. If you tell the cop you're a resident of Antarctica, boom, you just naturalized into Antarctica. That's the way naturalization works. You go to literally wherever you say you are. So you're not naturalized into state of California because your physical body is located there, because it's not anyways. It's located in California state. But my point is, wherever if your physical body is located in California state, but you naturalize into Utah state, you'd be naturalized into Utah state. It's all contract based. Residency and all that kind of stuff, it's all contract based as you start getting into all the different definitions and stuff, because it's like you start getting into state statutes and it'll say something stupid like, whoever's physically present in state of California. You're like, okay, what are the coordinates of state of California? What is the definition of state of California? There is none, because that's not how it works. You're only physically resident in state of California because you said typically on voter registration or driver's licenses, right? So if we go on, voter registration, California, you attest to, under penalty of perjury, that you are a resident, not domicile, a resident of state of California. They're going to make you sign to that, right? And every single choice is U.S. citizen. There is no non-U.S. citizen category. If you're not a U.S. citizen, you can't legally vote. That's the way it works, right? So that's part of the trap. That's why you see all the get out and vote now, and they make all this political noise because they want to entice you to register to vote, because when you register to vote, you are naturalizing into the District of Columbia. By tantalizing you into voting, they are effectively having you willingly and voluntarily give up being an American. When you register to vote, you are giving up your American nationality. And you are moving into a foreign corporate zone called District of Columbia. And I'll show a couple more things on that. So residents of the zone, referring to the District of Columbia, right? Persons that are allowed to reside, so always residents, in that zone. No person shall be allowed to reside within that zone except federal, state, or municipal officers or agents whose residence presence is deemed necessary by the board, right? So if you say you're a U.S. citizen, then by definition, all U.S. citizens are federal, state, or municipal officers. So you're government employees, right? And that's why the tax code, Title 27, or Title 26, if you scroll down to the definition of trade or business, that's going to really shock you. Oh boy. The term trade or business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. So whenever you say, I have a business, what you're saying basically is you're saying that I work for the government. So by saying you're a U.S. citizen, you're saying I work for the government. By saying you have a trade or business, you're saying I work for the government. And that's why you pay taxes. The Internal Revenue Code, federal income tax only applies to government employees, right? So that's why you pay taxes, and that's why there's a withholding agent, and that's why all this stuff is so goofy, because even the definition of the word employee, is that here? Let's see, employee. Let's see what we got. Where is it at? Let's see if we got a definition here. Employee. Oh, it's just for that one section. Let me just take a look here. You guys can see a little bit how I do this. Let me see if we can find a definition of employee. Do we have another definition here? Employee. Oh. Yeah, you start getting into these big, long, super weird, complicated definitions, and whenever you see these, you know you're onto something pretty good, because they try to smoke screen it out really, really hard, right? So that if it's super, super crazy and convoluted or really short and doesn't tell you anything, write that word down, because that means you're hot on the trail of something sexy, okay? Let's go back to trade or business. That was pretty shocking, right? Includes the performance of the functions of a public office. And this word includes, it's pretty complicated. Sometimes the word includes means only what follows and nothing else. It's kind of complicated, though. Like sometimes they're using that definition and sometimes they're not, right? But if you think about it, the definition of the word definition means boundaries. So if you ask me what is a fruit, and I said the definition of the word fruit includes bananas. Doesn't make any sense. That's not a definition. You're not telling me what fruit means. You're telling me there's one type, I guess, but it doesn't really tell me anything, right? So again, you start seeing weird stuff like this, and you're probably missing something, right? For example, as far as I know, the word includes, I could be wrong on this. This I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure it means only and exclusively the following example. So the term trade or business means only and exclusively the performance of the functions of a public office. I know that's very shocking, okay? But that's probably what this means. I never use the word business, bro. Holy shit. Someone says the word business is one of those words too, like individual and person and natural person. You heard the word business. Stop everything. Wow, you're talking about a business. Who the fuck has a business, bro? It ain't me. I ain't got no business. I ain't doing no business. I don't partake in no business. I don't have a business. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, bro. Absolutely fucking not. You start saying I have a business and this is my business and all that, and who comes knocking the tax man? You're the one who said you have a business. See how it works? It's all word games, brother, right? So you're starting to see kind of how this goes down. And there's one more thing I wanted to show you here. 26, it's in that same section here, but it's subsection 39. And we're going to see here, persons residing outside United States. Doesn't say the United States. It's kind of weird how they say it, right? It's a person. They're referring to a person located in the District of Columbia, right? If any citizen or resident of the United States, and if we click on that, it'll be includes only the states and the District of Columbia. But whenever you see and the District of Columbia, you got to get a little bit like, what the fuck are they talking about? Because the District of Columbia is not part of the United States of America. So they must be talking about something completely different. And the word states isn't, when it's capitalized, they're referring to a proper noun. They're referring to the businesses. So if you were to read this in normal English, the term United States, when used in a geographical sense, includes only the corporation versions of the states and the District of Columbia. All of those things are all located in the District of Columbia. You see how tricky the wording is? So basically, the term United States, when used in a geographical sense, includes only the District of Columbia. You can just remove the states because the states are in the District of Columbia. They're just talking about the District of Columbia, bro. If any citizen or resident of the District of Columbia does not reside in and is not found in any District of Columbia judicial districts, such citizen, meaning employee, or resident, meaning temporary visitor who is a foreigner, shall be treated as residing in the District of Columbia for purposes of any provision of this title relating to jurisdiction of courts or enforcement of summons. So basically, the way the law works is if you tell them that you're a United States citizen or a resident alien of United States and you're not found in the District of Columbia, for summons and courts and jurisdictions and everything, they treat you as though you're in the District of Columbia anyways. And if you're in the District of Columbia, you're a federal employee. And, you know, this is the joke, man. I'm telling you, it's all just a word party, right? So going back to nationality, you don't live in the United States because your physical body has anything to do with the location. That has nothing to do with anything. You live in the United States because you said you lived in the United States. It's that simple, bro. It's so fucking simple, bro. Like, W-9 form. Here's the W-9 form. This is what you fill out whenever you get a job. Certification, number 3. I am a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person. And then right next to where you fucking sign, literally right there, signature of U.S. person. Legal definition of U.S. person. I remember seeing this. United States person defined, right? It means any United States citizen or alien admitted for permanent residence in the United States and any corporation, partnership, or other organization organized under the laws of the United States, right? So a U.S. person, so a citizen is somebody who actually works for the government. You're an employee, right? An alien admitted for permanent residence would be a U.S. person. So citizen is an employee. You work there. If you're just visiting, but permanently, which is really dumb because permanent and residence is an oxymoron. It's like saying sovereign citizen, which in the first course I go, sovereign citizen. There is no such thing as a permanent residence. That's hilarious. It's a fat, skinny man. Permanent residence. Permanent domicile. No, that makes sense. There is no such thing as a permanent residence. Okay? Doesn't exist. So that's absolutely hysterical, right? So a United States person is an individual who, and I'm sure they have some special definition for permanent because they literally have a special definition for permanent in other areas. It's so fucking dumb. It's all just word magic, bro. I mean, you're starting to realize that already if you haven't already before this course. But a United States person is a quote-unquote permanent resident, hilarious, of the District of Columbia. And a citizen is an employee of the federal corporation located in the District of Columbia. So if I were to reread this in normal English, I just certify under penalty of perjury that I am an employee of the federal corporation, the government, or I am permanently residing, which doesn't even exist, in the District of Columbia, or in an area inside of the District of Columbia called United States. It's not even the District of Columbia because the United States is in the District of Columbia. We don't know where. So you could be in the District of Columbia and not know if you're a U.S. person. You wouldn't even know because where is United States? It's inside of the District of Columbia, but I don't have the coordinates. I have no idea. As far as I'm concerned, the only way you can get there is by saying you're there. And when you sign a W-9, you're saying that you're there. Okay? So the term naturalization means saying that you are in a place. You're there. When you say you're there, boom, you're there. So when you say, and I'll show you more and more and more on this as we go, whatever you say is what the truth is. If you say you live in a cave in Ethiopia, well, you live in a cave in Ethiopia. That's the way the law works, brother. People are all mad and they're upset and they say fuck the government and blah, blah, blah. Why fuck the government? The government operates off these codes. These codes give you infinite freedom. If I have a problem in California, I'm not a resident of California. Why am I not a resident of California? Because State of California is a corporation located in the District of Columbia, and I've never conferred the nationality of State of California upon myself or upon my trusts or my organization. So I'm not. So people are like, how can your physical body be in California, but yet you're not a resident of State of California? Because I'm not a resident of anything, and I'm not a citizen of anything either. So whenever I hear the word resident or citizen, I know automatically. You can say, are you a citizen of? The answer is already no. Are you a resident of? The answer is already no. I already know the answer is no. Because I'm not temporarily, if I were to go to Austin, Texas for a month, and someone said, are you a resident of Austin, Texas? I mean, I'd say yeah for 2 more weeks, or yeah for 6 more days, you see? I wouldn't say that because that legally they don't understand what any of that means, and they'll okay, good, we got them, let's get them, boys. I would just say no, but technically for a few days, yeah, I'm a resident for a few days, right? So now we're going to get into this next part, right? So if citizen is bad and resident is bad and all these words are bad, then what the fuck are we supposed to do, right? That's the next question, right? So 8 U.S.C. 1101 subsection A 21. This is what everyone's talking about right now, right? It's blown up. When I first did my first course, no one was talking about any of this shit, right? Now everyone's talking about it. National, American national, state national, puppies, national of puppies. We love puppies. Puppies are great. National of puppies, right? Everything's a national, right? So what is this term? The term national means a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Very simple. If you notice, the term national is not capitalized, right? And people at this point, they go, oh, Brandon's full of shit. This is all bullshit. And the fucking naysayers, all the people who I'm going to have so much fun blocking off everything. For all the naysayers, just to really drive your weak, pathetic, fucking fragile mind straight into a wood chipper, let's just rip your skull right off right now, all the naysayers. 8 U.S.C. 1401. The following shall be nationals and citizens of the United States at birth. 8 U.S.C. 1408. The following shall be nationals but not citizens of the United States at birth. And then let's go over to Title 8 and take a look if we can see the word citizenship anywhere. Title 8 is called Aliens and Nationality. And we click inside of Title 8 and we don't see the word citizen or citizenship anywhere. Why is that? Nationality and citizenship are two completely different subjects. I am a national of the United States. I am not a citizen of the United States. I have pledged allegiance to the United States, but I do not work for the United States, and I do not live in the United States. Think about it. Do you need to live in France to owe allegiance to France? No. The answer is no. Do you need to live in global women's issues, just to kind of crack your head a little bit and get you thinking with what the definition of a nation is? Do you need to live inside of global women's issues in order to owe allegiance to global women's issues? The reason why you're confused is because the definition of the word nation, okay, the term national, let's replace some of these words like we did before, right? Well, that's actually permanent. It always fucks people up, right? Like I was saying earlier, there's a special definition sometimes used. It's pretty funny, actually. This just goes to show you how they try so hard to get all the words to fit together, because residence can't be permanent. It's impossible, right? And you'll see that here. It's hilarious, right? The term permanent means a relationship of continuing or lasting nature, as distinguished from temporary. But a relationship may be permanent even though it is one that may be dissolved eventually at the instance either of the United States or of the individual in accordance with law. So it's like, it's permanent rather than temporary, but anyone can end it at basically almost any time. That sounds pretty temporary to me, bro. So we just removed that word. That word's a joke, right? So let's reread this. We're going to replace the word person and the word state, just like we did before. This is going to make a lot more sense. Just so simple, bro. Oh my God. It makes me want to just fall asleep. It's so simple. And notice the word national is not capitalized. Another thing for the naysayers. I know I've already killed you and you're probably already dead on the ground, or you've already closed the window. Stop watching the show because your heart and your mind started hurting and the headache started coming on you. But just to finish you off with a killing blow and watch the blood splatter all over the walls, if you look at the right above the signature area of the DS11 passport application form, which I will be going through the entire passport application form just like I did in the first course, but with a few added extra bonuses. So the way that I explain things is going to be quite a bit more in-depth than I did before, as well as a few added bonuses. But that old video is still pretty good. As of right now, we're going to be covering that in the 7th video of this course, 2.0. So let's see here. I declare under penalty of perjury all of the following. 1, I am a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States. Oh my God. The conspiracy theorist, one stupid fuck. Holy shit. Can you believe it? Right? So the term national means an individual or an organization. We're replacing these words. Owing allegiance to a nation. Very simple. It's an individual or an organization owing allegiance to a nation. Individual or an organization owing allegiance to a nation. Yeah, right. Super, 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 super simple. It's like your head spins and your head spins and your head spins, and you got to realize this shit is actually really simple, dude. Like, fuck, right? What's the definition of allegiance, right? And I'm just going to pull this from here. It's easier than trying to find it. By allegiance is meant the obligation of fidelity and obedience which the individual owes to the government under which he lives or to his sovereign in return for the protection he received. And this is the most important part, because a lot of people are like, I don't want to pledge allegiance to this foreign corporation. Okay. It can be an absolute and permanent obligation, or it may be a qualified and temporary one. So I have this free document, which I'll be getting into later on the passport video. And I may even change this a little bit. I haven't looked at this in a while. And in here we have a qualified and temporary Pledge of Allegiance. And it's very, very clear about being peaceful and that kind of thing. Just real quick, as a side note, when it comes to nations and stuff like that, in terms of the United States, we have foreign government defined. So this is pretty shocking. Foreign government, the term foreign government includes any government, faction, or body of insurgents within a country with which the United States is at peace, irrespective of recognition by the United States. So you're starting to see these micronations. My favorite is the micronation of Slowjamistan. This place is absolutely fucking hilarious. You've got to check this out. This dude, his name is he calls himself the Sultan of Slowjamistan, and it's just a plot of land in the middle of the desert in California. Him and all of his buddies got together, and they have like a border agent, and they have all this stuff. And then here's like the different parliament members, and it just gets so goofy. The Crown Prince, Special Forces, Director of Misdirection, Princess. So the number one rule inside of Slowjamistan is you can't wear Crocs. There's even like a public stocks where you put your head and your arms in, and you have to get locked in. It's like a public shaming device for anyone who wears Crocs. So we have the Princess Duchess of Croc Rehab, Minister of Tomfoolery, Minister of Crafts and Napping, Minister of Margaritas. It's just a big joke, bro, and you can become a citizen of Slowjamistan for free. I know the word citizen's not that great, but it's okay. If you scroll down, we have here Brennan Joe Williams, the Prince of Pickles. After learning from his fans that cucumbers brine in the behind and transform into pickles, he has become the King Pickle of Pickletaria. But his relationship with the fellow nation of Slowjamistan will be more modest. The Prince of Pickles. So we have that, right? So any nation, any group of individuals operating together with tranquility and all the good stuff, right? They are considered a foreign government, regardless of whether or not they are recognized by the United States, by simply being at peace, right? And you say to yourself, there's no way that's true. Time for another shocker. We're going to go to the Department of the Interior website. Department of the Interior deals with a lot of tribal stuff, right? If you go down to our priorities, what we do, right? The Department of the Interior plays a central role in how the United States stewards its public lands, increases environmental protections, pursues environmental justice, and honors our nation-to-nation relationship with tribes. What are they saying? Tribal nations are a completely separate nation. That's why cops can't go on there. That's why tribes are allowed to release their own identification cards that are federally and state recognized. Tribes are literally completely separate nations. And a lot of the information that I'm giving you in this course and a lot of the information we're going to be covering is it's all the same stuff the tribes operate off of. Tribes are nations. They're separate nations. They're foreign governments. As long as they're at peace. If they're not at peace, then, and them being recognized doesn't, the United States doesn't even need to know you're there. Recognition has nothing to do with anything. So, the most important thing you got to ask yourself, okay, Brandon, well, if peace is the crux of everything, well, what the hell is the definition of peace? The legal definition. I got you, Bresky. That's exactly where my head went too. Peace. The tranquility enjoyed by a political society, internally by the good order which reigns among its members, and externally by the good understanding it has with all other nations. Applied to the internal regulations of a nation, peace imports. That word's kind of weird. Definition of imports. Indicates or signifies, like showing something or indicating something, right? So I'll just replace that with shows, a more common usage would be just the word shows, right? Where I think I lost it here. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. So if I were to reread this, or just reread this section, I'll just replace that word with shows, right? Applied to the internal regulations of a nation, peace shows, in a technical sense, not merely a state of repose and security as opposed to one of violence or warfare, but likewise a state of public order and decorum. So what is peace? Tranquility, repose, security, not just no violence or warfare. Some people are like, oh, they're at peace, meaning they're just not killing each other. No, it actually means that something even beyond that. It means public order and decorum and tranquility. And like, it's not just a guy who's not bombing someone. Oh, they're not setting buildings on fire. They're at peace. No, that's not the actual legal definition of the word peace. Peace is an action. Peace is not inaction. Peace is actually an action. It's the sharing of tranquility, help, assisting your fellow nations, improving the world in some way. That is peace. And I know a lot of people do my courses and a lot of people watch my stuff and they're like, Brandon, I just want to be left alone. That's a bit tricky because the thing is I just want to be left alone is not really the definition of peace. So no one knows any of this, so whatever, but I'm just telling you, if you actually want your own foreign government, like for real, and you actually really want to get crazy about all these different words and definitions, just running off and being by yourself isn't technically peace if someone were to get really, really weird about the words and definitions. So just keep that in mind. If you really, really, really want to get serious about this like I do, and you want to know every single word to the maximum capacity, and you want to get all of this dead right to where, it'll stand everywhere you go, including courtrooms, a foreign government is at peace, meaning it's actually actively helping and increasing the world. Like this course, and why I give it away for free, is because my nation is at peace. I don't need to tell anybody anything. This course and everything that I do and all the shows that I go on, it's proof. There's nothing to talk about. I have a foreign government, and the amount of help and the amount of cool stuff and the amount of wonderful messages that you guys send me and everything else is proof of that. And no one's ever going to argue with me about that. I won't even waste my breath. Nothing to talk about. Okay, so the definition of peace, the definition of foreign government. And then another thing I wanted to show you on that too real quick is the UN Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, right? You say to yourself, oh, they won't let me just naturalize or whatever. Everyone has the right to a nationality, which is based off of allegiance. So everyone has the right to contract in with any nation and pledge allegiance to and have a relationship with. That's the definition of nationality. And then Section 2 is no one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality, nor denied the right to change his nationality. So it's an international human rights violation to arbitrarily deprive you of your nationality or to deny you the right to change your nationality. And it's not just a thing you can have. It's not like, oh, you can just like having a nationality is cool. It's actually a human right. One of your human rights is the right to a nationality. So this is not some little bullshit thing. This is not some little bullshit conversation. This is like super heavy hitting, right? So the term national means an individual or an organization owing allegiance to a nation, right? So this is your nationality. This is your right. Your right to pledge allegiance and contract, right? Now, if you pledge allegiance to or owe allegiance to the state called the United States, which is located in the District of Columbia, bingo bambo, bammo, right below that, you have national of the United States. If I was pledging allegiance to South Korea, I would be a national of South Korea. If you were pledging allegiance to the nation of the Amnesty Coalition, you'd be a national of the nation of the Amnesty Coalition. It's very simple. And that's why this whole state national, American national thing is a little bit complicated because American national it's not only does it not really make sense, and I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just, if we really, really, really want to do this stuff, and we want to get into the courts, because I'm going to teach you later on this how to get into litigation and everything like that, you need to really, 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 really get this stuff down, man. I mean, every word, the placement of the word. I wouldn't say American national. I would say national of America. But what is America? It's also kind of complicated. National of, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, before the 14th Amendment, people were not, they were citizens of their state. So for me, if it's going to be confusing, you're going to need to fight it. That's why I don't ever say this. But you would say a national of California state. That would make sense. A person owing allegiance to California state, right? But the thing is, you can owe allegiance to California state even though you're not there. So it doesn't matter. I don't say I'm a national of California state, because just because I'm here doesn't mean I have to owe allegiance. I mean, I help and I do things. I mean, I have allegiance. It isn't, I just don't see the point in it, right? But in order to get a passport, you have to owe allegiance to the United States. And I'll show you that right here. So 22 CFR 51.2. The passport office believes that only U.S. citizens are entitled to a passport. That's a hilarious joke. When you show this to them, they just about die on the ground. It's absolutely hilarious. 22 Code of Federal Regulations, Section 51.2, passport issued to nationals only. A passport may be issued only to a U.S. national. Only. So the term U.S. national and the term national of the United States means the same thing. So what does U.S. national or national of the United States mean, right? A citizen of the United States, or B, a person who, though not a citizen of the United States, owes permanent allegiance to the United States. And permanent's that bullshit term, so we just remove it. So there's two different subclasses of national of the United States, or U.S. national, right? If you look on the I-9 employment eligibility verification form, we see a different term. We see one is a citizen of the United States. Two is a non-citizen national of the United States, right? And by the way, for all you guys out there, we're going to get into this later, but if you look at the second page of the I-9, it says you have to, in order to work anywhere legally, you have to prove identity and employment authorization. We're going to get into this in just a second. 22 USC 212. Persons entitled to a passport. No passport shall be granted or issued to or verified for any other persons than those owing allegiance, whether citizens or not, to the United States. If you pledge allegiance to the United States, you can get a passport. And if you have a passport, it's point number 1 of list A. That covers both identity and employment authorization. You don't need a driver's license, social security card, birth certificate. Look at all these fucking things. Tribal ID, all this bullshit. You don't need a fucking thing. You show a passport book or passport card and you can instantaneously get any employment anywhere. You could be the CFO of Apple Incorporated with just a passport. Nothing. I don't have anything else to give you. And they say, well, sir, if you don't give us your social security number, we can't hire you. Bing, 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 anti-discrimination notice. You can't do that. That's called discrimination. It's very, very clear. If I show you a U.S. passport or U.S. passport card, I have given you everything I need to give you to be completely legally employable. I can open up a bank account with U.S. passport. I can open up credit card processing and attach it into the bank account. I can work. I can cruise around in a car or a motorcycle. I don't need a driver's license. You can do everything with a passport. So how do you get a passport? You pledge allegiance to the United States. You don't work for the United States. You've just pledged allegiance. Number 2, a non-citizen national of the United States. Okay. So we have these terms, and then we also see even on the DS-11. Okay, so do they use U.S. national on the DS-11? Did they use national of the United States on the DS-11? Or did they use this new term, a non-citizen national of the United States? Let's take a look. I am a citizen or non-citizen national of the United States. Now this one's interesting. This one, non and citizen, has a little hyphen in between it. On the I-9, there is no hyphen. Those are the same terms. That doesn't matter. But I'm just showing you, you need to get really, really crazy about every fucking word, because that's how you're going to be free, right? So a national of the United States or a U.S. national could be either A or B. A non-citizen national of the United States can only be subsection B. Non-citizen national. That means not subsection A, but only and exclusively subsection B. So you wouldn't, if you want to get really crazy with the words, you wouldn't say I'm a U.S. national. And I'm not telling you what to say, by the way, because I really, not just because I don't want to get in trouble or legal, or I don't give a fuck about any of that, because I'm not even in this country on paper, right? That doesn't matter. It's not about me telling you, that's not my job. My job isn't to tell you what to do. Because then if I tell you what to do, now you're going to come back to me, oh, what do I do here? And what do I do here? And then you're just going to be sucking my cock for the rest of your life. That's not what I'm trying to do here. In fact, like I said before, I don't even want to hear from you. The reason why I don't tell people what to do is because that's stupid. What I'm trying to do in this whole course, I'm trying to educate you so that you can make your own decisions. I don't give a fuck what you do. I really don't. It's not because of some legal reason or anything else. I just don't care. And you're going to hear, oh, Brandon teaches it all wrong and you're supposed to do it this way and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. If you see people doing that, I don't think you should listen to them. That's not really, there's 10 million different ways to fill out all these forms. There's 10 million different ways to do all this different shit. Okay. So people, oh, Brandon, you should have filled this out in this other way. I don't fucking care, bro. Do whatever you want. But if you want to get really, really honed in on the words and you want to be like ultra, ultra specific in terms of, I wouldn't use state national. I wouldn't use national of the United States. I wouldn't use American national. I wouldn't use national of the United States or U.S. national or any of these terms. I would use what's found on the I-9 and the DS-11, which is a non-citizen national of the United States. And you can put it with a hyphen in there, or with the I-9, they don't have any hyphen. I typically write it without any hyphen. It doesn't make a difference. But this is the exact word for word capitalization for capitalization. The word national is never capitalized. I've never seen it capitalized except in one place, and I think they fucked it up there. So if you see it not capitalized in like a million locations and then it's just like capitalized like one time in one location, I don't know. I think that's just wrong. It's never capitalized. So the term national is lowercase, a non-citizen, lowercase, national, lowercase, of the capital U, United, capital S states. That is the boom to the boom to the boom to the boom. Okay? So I am not a citizen. I am not a resident. I am not a resident of the state of California. I am not a resident or permanent resident, hilarious, of United States. I am not a citizen. I am not a national of the United States. I am not a U.S. national. I am a non-citizen national of the United States. And I have pledged or owe allegiance to the United States through a qualified and temporary pledge of allegiance, which is how we get all of our passports issued to us. So that's how it works. Okay. So it's not that complicated. I've jammed a lot into this video. Obviously, you may need to watch this video a few times, but the whole point is I'm trying to give you like some real sauce on video one. Really, really trying to get things popping, right? Course number one is like 1 mile an hour to the point where you want to like die. This course is like 400,000 miles an hour. And it may you so if that's the case, then if you're just having a really hard time here and you've watched this video a bunch of times, you may want to go back to the first course. But I just don't recommend that. There's going to be stuff on there that you may be like all excited about and run off and try to do. And I'm going to tell you later in this course, like, don't fucking bother with that shit. But anyways, now that we've covered all that, I'll teach you how to never pay taxes again. It's very easy. This part of the conversation is very short. You already learned most of it, right? So for purposes of the income tax, alien individuals, this is 26 Code of Federal Regulations, Section 1.871-1. Alien, the word alien means foreigner. Whenever you see the word alien, that means foreigner. So foreign individuals. It's because your domicile is outside of the District of Columbia. So you're a resident, but you're just there temporarily. So you're a foreigner. And that's why they use the word alien, resident alien. I don't know why nobody ever sat and thought, how can someone be a resident and an alien? It's hilarious. Right? So individuals are divided generally into two classes, namely resident aliens and non-resident aliens. Resident alien in normal English means a temporary visitor who doesn't live here and intends to leave at some point in the, I guess, nearish future, right? And non-resident alien means a foreigner who's not visiting us. Resident alien individuals are, in general, taxable the same as citizens or employees of the federal corporation located in the District of Columbia, right? That is, a resident alien is taxable on income derived from all sources, including sources without, which means outside of, the United States, which means the District of Columbia, right? Non-resident alien individuals are taxable only on certain income from sources within the District of Columbia and on income described in section, that doesn't go anywhere. If you want to look that up, you'll notice it doesn't go anywhere. This 864C4 doesn't go anywhere. So we just skip that. So you ask yourself, okay, so Brandon, how did I start paying taxes? This is how you started paying taxes. However, non-resident alien individuals may elect to be treated as U.S. residents for purposes of determining their income tax liability. So it's just like naturalization, right? You said you are a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person on the W-9 form. Remember we covered this earlier? Every single time you fill one of these out, which you fill one of these out 1,000 times in your life probably, every job, a lot of times even like 1099 stuff, like independent contractor stuff, they want you to sign one of these. Hell, I had in my landscaping organization, I had a situation where a freaking commercial guy a commercial job site wanted me to sign W-9. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me, bro. You think I'm gonna sign a W-9? Well, I told the guy, because they make a big deal out of it, right? And they go, oh, bullshit, and blah, 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 you're in the United States. I go, look, HNUSC 911. Whoever falsely and willfully represents himself to be a citizen of the United States shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 3 years or both. If I tell someone I'm a fucking citizen, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to prison. So I told him straight up, I was like, are you forcing me to violate 18 USC 911? I said, I'm not going to prison. You're the one who's going to go to fucking prison, motherfucker. Yeah, he changed his mind real quick. So, when you say here, I am a U.S. citizen or other U.S. person, and then signature of U.S. person, boom, right there. What did you do? A non-resident alien individual may elect to be treated as U.S. residents for purposes of determining their income tax liability. So because you said you're there, they were very kind to you and allowed you to elect to basically get treated as though you're there. So what happened? You volunteered. You volunteered to pay taxes. It's very simple. Very, 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 very simple. You are where you say you are. And if you say you're there, they go, come on in, buddy. Here's a cigar and here's some whiskey and bend over. I'm going to fuck you right in the ass there, brother. That's what they do. Very simple, right? So you see here, you thought that you are in this terribly small little square. You thought that you can't move and you thought it was the government's fault. And actually, you can travel throughout the entire galaxy on paper in an hour. I confer the nationality of Jupiter upon myself after birth by any means whatsoever. Bada bing. You are now a national of Jupiter if you pledge allegiance to Jupiter. and you naturalize to Jupiter, then you can legally on paper be a national of Jupiter, and you can naturalize into Jupiter. It's very, very simple. So because my nation's at peace, it's a foreign government, and because it's a foreign government, I can naturalize into it, naturalize out of it. Other people, if you would like to become a member, there's a covenant that you're going to, you don't send it to me because I don't give a fuck. You're going to take it to get your DS-11 done at the passport office. And there's an explanatory statement, which we're going to go over in the passport video. And it basically has the covenant inside of the explanatory statement, and you promise to follow the covenant. And that's it. I don't have a membership fee or a membership role. I don't do any of that shit myself. I got way other things going on. I don't need to be dealing with your bullshit. So it's all self-governed, right? By getting back to the election that you did, elected to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purposes of determining your income tax liability, I have a free document on my resources and documents page on the amnestycoalition.org. And if you scroll down, it's going to be called revocation, which means like revoking or getting rid of the previous election that you made to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purpose of determining your income tax liability. And there's some stuff on here you're not going to understand until way later in the course, the financial stuff. There's some other cool stuff on here. But you're going to understand a big chunk of it now, right? Bunch of definitions. Most of these I covered with you already in this show. Opening statements about peacefulness and being peaceful. Nationality clarification. Boom. Naturalization right here. And then some financial stuff, which we're going to get into later in the course. Closing statements, very simple, very short, very sweet. Get it notarized, send it in. And then this is how you eliminate your election to be treated as a U.S. resident for the purposes of determining your income tax liability. Then you revert back to what you were before you filled out your first W-9 form, which is a non-resident alien. And non-resident alien individuals are taxable only on income from sources within the United States, which is defined as the District of Columbia. Da-da-da-da! And you normally, people fill out the 1040. This is the normal form, the U.S. individual income tax return, which again, individual, ding, ding, ding. We should dig down that because that's not you, probably, right? And if you want to know, there is a 1040NR form, and it is specifically the 1040 version for non-resident alien individuals. And you would fill this out, and you would only fill out the income that you made from within the District of Columbia, which would be 0. And then you would send it in. But as far as I know, if it's 0, you just don't even fill out anything. I don't fill out anything. Why would I send them extra paperwork for just zeros? I believe I could have sworn I seen it somewhere where they're like, if it's 0 or whatever, like don't even send it in. Because what's the point? There's no point. If they have questions and they call you, then I can send you a bunch of zeros at that point in time. But why would I have them processing documents? I don't know. It's just my own personal opinion. I don't know. I just don't see the point. Why send them shit that they're just gonna process for no reason? I don't see the point in that. So there you go. That's video number 1. We are just getting started on this course, but you're starting to kind of get the flavor of everything and how we're going to be doing. And it looks like I have covered everything I wanted to cover in video number 1. So I'll see you guys at video number 2. I hope you're having fun. I hope this is going well for you, and we'll keep rocking. See you later.